Hello, everyone. My name is Jasper. Tonight, I will be the moderator of this panel. For the students who don't know me, I'm a senior majoring in finance. I recently interned at Deloitte in risk and financial advisory. They offered me a full-time job this coming summer as an analyst. So just for the agenda, we have 45 minutes of Q&A, and then in the last 15 minutes or so, we will open the floor to everyone, which means all of you can ask questions to our student panelists. So we have two students from Metro and two students from Florham. I'm asking the panelists to introduce themselves, your name, major, year, and your most recent internship. Let's start with Inayah to introduce herself, then Debora, then Anya, and then lastly, Jared.
Hi, my name is Anya Chillious. I'm a marketing major. I'm a senior. My latest experience has been working for Rothman Institute at FDU, and I also have worked in concert production for Little Dirk, Fabio Foreign, and Corey LeRae. And I'm also part of the Silberman College of Business Advisory Board too.
Hi everyone, my name's Debora. I'm a junior accounting major and I just got an internship for Deloitte this upcoming summer in audit.
Yeah, I'm a senior business management major with an HR concentration. And this past summer, I interned at Eisner Amper, a mid-sized accounting firm in New York City in their talent acquisition department.
Hi, my name is Jared Robertson. I'm a senior. I'm a business administration major. I recently just interned with Walmart Corporate this summer in merchandising sales. And currently, I'm the leader of the finance and HR team of Mansion Munchies, which is a student-run enterprise at FDU Florham.
Thank you, everyone. So as you can see, our student panelists have diverse experiences and majors, and I'm really hoping that we learn something new from them tonight. So the first question, this goes to every panelist. How do you find your internships? You can go first, Inayah, if you want to.
So I found my internship while looking through my emails. Paige had sent out some internships, and I was really interested in participating more into FDU. And so I just applied for the Rothman Institute, and I was grateful enough to be offered the position for interning as a digital marketer.
So I heard of my internship through networking with someone on LinkedIn who went to my high school, and I saw that she worked there and she kind of helped me with that. But honestly, I learned more about other internship programs through the accounting fair I went to, because I honestly never went to any networking event before at FDU. And then that's when I found 6 other companies I really liked. I talked to recruiters. And honestly, it helped so much because I had problems with my KPMG internship, my application, and they said that I didn't make it through the interview process. So I had emailed the recruiter that I networked with, and she helped me figure out what was wrong. And then they called me every day, helping me redo my application and stuff. So I think it just, in general, even if I didn't go with those companies, it was really nice to still network with these recruiters, and I still followed them on LinkedIn and just see everything still.
Both of them said, I think that networking is a huge part of it, but also read your emails. I can't stress that enough. Mary, Pat, Paige, they're all here to help you. I landed my summer internship through an email that Pat sent me. I had been having a lot of trouble leading up to it, and she sent me that opportunity and I applied. So had I not paid attention to my emails, that would not have happened. So they really are there to help you. So definitely read your emails. Other than that, Handshake is a fantastic platform, as well as LinkedIn. But I actually find that I think Handshake is a little more useful for internships, and LinkedIn is kind of, I don't want to say geared more towards full-time jobs, but in my experience, it might be a little bit. So Handshake would be number 2 after reading your emails.
Yeah, I would say just piggybacking off of her, Handshake and definitely the career fairs are probably the best way to get internships, especially when you're at the career fairs and you kind of make that in-person connection. So they kind of put a face to the name and they don't just see a resume come across. For my internship, how I got it, I was on Handshake. my mom, she's a career director, so she was like really pressing me to just like look all over Handshake and apply, because you really can't go wrong with the more you apply to, the better. Even if you get accepted by a bunch, you want to have more options rather than not having any at all. So I applied through Handshake, and then like I think within like was it a couple weeks or so, like I had my first like digital interview, and then after I had like the digital interview, then I had like two more Zoom interviews after that, and then like I think they told me like before winter break that I was gonna get the summer internship.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a lot of like opportunities out there on LinkedIn and Handshake, and also if you talk to Paige, to Pat, or to Mary, they'll definitely can help you. Thanks, everyone. So this question is for Jared. What was the biggest surprise or unusual experience that occurred during your internship?
All right, so the biggest surprise to me, so I have my own like small business like selling sneakers. So I thought I was gonna be in apparel. And when I first got to Walmart, I was put in the day my manager got switched like the first week of the job. So all my like my email, all like my work email, everything that I was supposed to have, I didn't have like when I came in on like the job. And so I got a new manager, thankful, and he's like the director of he was the director and he was the buyer of milk. So I got put in the dairy department, and I was super thankful to be placed there. And I actually still was able to work with people in apparel. My manager actually connected me with my mentor now, who works at Nike. He works in like strategy department at Nike, so I was able to still do projects related to apparel in Walmart. And that's the thing too, like in your internships, they don't, at least where I was, like they have real world problems that they want people to solve, but they just don't have enough time to solve them. So like they're having their interns solve these type of problems. And so you're working with like real life data, um, and you're working like with something that the company actually needs help doing. So I would say like that was like the biggest thing for me. And I was kind of able to adjust based on my manager and like the team that I had within the department as well.
How about you, Anya? Do you have any experience relating to that?
I would think the biggest surprise for me is that the management at my internship, like they truly cared about the success of interns. And I think that like this can be a common misconception, like, oh, you're an intern, you kind of just do the busy work or whatever, or they don't have the time for you. But in my experience, they absolutely do. They really want you to succeed. They want you to have a wonderful experience. So honestly, that was the biggest surprise for me, that there was endless opportunities to be engaged, and that the people that were above you and in charge were really, really supportive of your success.
How about you, Anaya? What was your experience?
I think the most surprising experience was definitely networking and getting to know the administration on the other campus, Florham campus. They were definitely great, and they still communicate to me now. So I think that was really the best experience, was just networking with the other administration too.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So this question is for Anya. Was the internship description accurately described?
No, in my experience, it was definitely accurately described as far as what I did do, but there was also a lot more to it than what was described, which was actually a really wonderful part. Like one of my biggest projects during my internship was totally not something that was part of the initial description. So that was really nice. So the whole thing was really just more exciting and engaging than you could ever imagine, just based on that initial application description, and also anything that the recruiters mentioned throughout the interview process.
Yeah, I also agree. In my personal experience, it was not for me. Like in consulting or advisory in general, the objectives and the things you do are not really straightforward. Like things change every day. So there are a lot of things that can happen that you won't expect. This is for Jared. Was there something that you didn't like in your internship?
So like I'm obviously from Jersey, and I got placed on a whole new state. Like I was placed in Arkansas, like the middle of like I thought I was like West Bumble. And so like being in like a new environment and kind of having to like adjust, like even like little things like like not being able to have like pizza, because you can't eat pizza in the South. It's like disgusting. But I would say like for me personally, like during the midpoint review of my internship, they switched my whole project around. And so that kind of like really like messed with me just because simply like I had a shorter timeline. I don't know why my camera is doing that, to be honest, but I had a shorter timeline to get what I had to get done because I had a 10-week internship. And when we're doing this midpoint review, it's like week 4, week 5. They change up the deliverables for my internship, and we have to present for our final presentation a week or two before we actually like fly back home. So it was realistically everything had to be done by August 1st, and they're telling me this like mid like end of June type of stuff. So it was like that was probably like the hardest part for me. So kind of to like lock in and really talk to my manager about like coming up with like a new plan. And everybody like what Anya said before, like everybody's super supportive like during your internship, and you should never be afraid to like ask questions, like be a sponge, like always be curious because they want you to do that.
In my personal experience, even though we were very much involved in our internship, there are some tools that we do not have access to. Also, it depends on the client sometimes if they want us to be in the meeting. So there are some instances where I just had to wait for my team to relay the information to me. So that's one of the things that I didn't like in my internship, but overall, it was pretty great. So I want to ask this question to Deborah. What advice would you give a student who has never had an internship and feels overwhelmed in the process?
So I personally was so overwhelmed in the beginning also because like my first couple years at FDU, like my first year was fully online and then my next year was like basically online still. And I'm a commuter and I have like technically a full-time job. So I never used the resources that were given to me. Like I never went to Paige until this semester. She knows this. And I honestly never read any of my emails. I never even looked at like the internship opportunities. And I wish I used these resources because if I had, I would have started an internship a little earlier, which would have probably like been a better use of my time in the summer rather than just working at my job right now. And although like the process can be really overwhelming, at the end of the day, it's all about you. Like when you interview, they're asking you about yourself and you know yourself best and you know your resume best. Like as long as you know like what you've accomplished and stuff, the interview process itself is not that hard. Like as soon as I sent in my resume and completed all the questions, which is also about yourself, during your interview, it's an internship. Like you don't really get asked technical questions. It's more like how you like overcame challenges or like stuff about your resume. So I think like the process itself is overwhelming as in like finding something, but like then again everything is given to you as long as you open your emails and go to Paige or someone, you know. So I think like that would probably be like my best advice is just kind of like take it step by step and use everything that's given to you.
Thank you. How about you, Anaya? Do you have any advice?
Yes. I remember this time around last year, I had applied to literally 40 internships. And I only had like one interview. And I just kind of just kept my faith going. Just keep applying to internships and also definitely open the emails. I know that was the best thing I could have done for myself. Like all of the experience that I have so far and even the opportunities that I have right now are from opening all those emails and things like that. So even apply to some programs, go to networking events, please. Those are like the best things that could have happened to me right now. Going to network events, I've met executives from Christian Dior. I've met so many people from BuzzFeed, a lot of different companies. Please try to go to some networking events. Those would be definitely the best things for you.
How about you, Anya? Do you have any advice?
I would say start early. In my experience, I think I was a little too late. I'm a senior now, so my internship was at the end of between my junior and senior year. I wish I had started over like winter break in between fall and spring semester last year, and I didn't. So the earlier the better. Like take advantage of the opportunities that come about early, and also be consistent in your research and your applications. Pat knows this. I did not apply to like that many internships, and I definitely should have. to get more and more opportunities, but definitely do your research, be consistent, and apply often. Like literally make a spreadsheet of what you've applied to and their status, because it will help you keep track of like the individual progress on each one. And of course, read your emails and attend events. I second that, absolutely.
How about you, Jared?
All right, so like for me, like I started early, and this was like a weird instance where I got the internship my sophomore year for BASF. And I was an accounting major at the time. I'm not anymore. I switched. And I went through everything, like the whole process, filled out all the paperwork, went through the interviews. I thought I had the job. I missed one email going into like winter break and responded like it was like 24 hours later, and they rescinded the offer. And like it literally broke me. Like I felt like super bad afterward. I felt like a failure. I was telling my mom. I was too like scared to tell my mom, and it was just like really bad. But like looking back, like it helped prepare me for like when I applied for other internships after. And I would say like honestly, a lot of times now they have these turn in these videos before they actually interview you in person. I don't know why the camera's doing that, but I would say those are like the most important. Make sure you do your research. Do like a lot of research on the company. You go to their website; it will tell you all the facts and stuff about their company. Take those facts down, and then know your resume. Like whatever points you have in your resume, you should be able to speak to all of them. And then I would say lastly, when you're recording these, like they say you have 30 minutes to record, but in reality, like you have unlimited time before you press to the next question. So when it says you can redo a question, like you can redo your answer, like take the time to really like write out a response and write out some notes and then deliver that, because that's super easy to ace your online video turn-ins that you do for your interviews. That's like my only advice for that.
Like what Jared said about researching the company, I 100% agree with, because every time like I went to interview and I interviewed with like 7 companies, like they always asked why you like want to interview, I mean, why you want the internship with this company. And I always did research beforehand on like what the company has done, and then I'll back up what I was saying. Like for example, I remember looking at Cone Resnick, and Cone Resnick really like values diversity, and looking at their company, like they had like an equal split between women and men as like partners, whereas like some companies like say they like value diversity and like all the partners are male. So you know, so that was like a point I made. And like a lot of the companies like appreciate that, because like they know you're not just applying just to apply. Like there's so many people who apply to like so many internships, but at the end of the day they're like, oh, like, do you really want us? Like I remember when I was interviewing for Deloitte, they were like, but like, are we your number one choice? Like, why do you want us? And it just like helps to like understand like the company as a whole. Like in general, even if like you're gonna work for this company, you want to know what their values are.
No, yeah, I agree with everyone. Also, I just want to add, like, you should bring up what you really care about the company. Like, for example, gender diversity, ethnic diversity, and whatever, like, let's say they probably invested in your community, or maybe they did something in your neighborhood. Yeah, bring up those things, those points, and they really, they care about sustainability and stuff like that. They like talking about themselves, so do that. Trust the process, apply to a lot of internships. It's okay if you don't 100% qualify for the internship. Just apply. Like, you never know, getting rejected is not the worst thing ever. You don't have to be the best candidate. You just have to apply early. So yeah, there's that. So I want to ask Debora again this question. What advice would you give a student who keeps applying for internships, for example, 10 to 20 internships, and hasn't received an opportunity to even interview?
Kind of like what I said before. You just need to really be networking. Like that's something that I really regret too. Like I never like really cared about my LinkedIn, and like now that my LinkedIn is like up to standards, like I get I get invitations from people who work at Deloitte, like the employees that are there. Like I already built a network with employees at Deloitte, and I haven't even started yet. I even networked with other interns there. I've had people who like want to work for Deloitte like message me. So like I think the whole networking thing is like super important, and attending events. That's like something I really wish I did better. And I think like just making your resume as perfect as it can be, like having all like different types of people like look at it and like really knowing it, and like following recruiters on LinkedIn has also helped me. So I think like networking and your resume are my two number one things. Like if you keep applying, like if you're applying to so many internships and you're not hearing back, like there's definitely something that's wrong in your resume or probably your social media presence. Because even when I was applying for like all these companies, I would see that like recruiters were looking at my LinkedIn page like before I even got an interview. So I think that's like really important.
How about you, Anaya? Do you have any advice regarding that?
Yeah, just kind of like what she had said too. Just continue going to networking events. I know that's I've been to so many conferences right now. I actually have a 2-day workshop in New York City Thursday and Friday. So with companies such as Fox, BuzzFeed, ESPN, there's tons, Sony Music. Yeah, so most definitely, please try to go to some events. I know that has definitely helped me with my career right now.
How about you, Anya?
Everybody, I think that utilize the resources that FDU provides to you because there's definitely a lot of them. So take full advantage of that and just like keep trying because it will come. It just takes like one opportunity, one interview for somebody to give you that first chance, which is really just like could be the start of something great. But also my biggest advice is just be open to like any opportunity that crosses you. Like if you had told me I would have been interning at an accounting firm this past summer, I kind of would have been like, yeah, no, like that's not me. I am not good with numbers, but I did nothing having to do with like tax or audit or public services or anything like that. I was on a completely different side of the business and had a fantastic experience. So just be open to anything. Don't rule something out just because you think you're not interested.
Yep, thank you so much. So again, this question goes to Anya. During your internship, how did you contribute to your team as an intern?
Any way that I could. If anybody asked me to do something, even like the smallest little task that you might have thought was so stupid, like just do it. Absolutely do it and do it to the best of your ability because if they recognize that you can and you're willing to contribute, they're more likely to ask you to do the next thing. And like one small thing could lead to a larger thing. So literally, I would assist with my team with anything from like literally making copies to like building PowerPoint decks, anything at all. I was totally on board to help with. And then my biggest advice is like, don't ever do nothing. There's always something for you to do. And like your manager, they want you to ask how you can help. So don't be afraid to like say, hey, I finished this task. Is there anything else I can do? Because they really do love that. And they want to see that you're engaged in that respect. So literally help with anything you possibly can.
So another thing you can do in my experience, so at Deloitte, we had meetings every morning. So I take notes and then share those notes with the team. And then every time I reach out to them, I let them know what I can do and what bullet points I can work on in the agenda. So I never ask them how I can help them. It's more of like, because like, these people don't know my skills and what I'm capable of. So it's important that you like let your team know what you can do for them. So instead of like asking them, how can I help you? You say, like, for example, in the meeting this morning, we discussed that we have to build a graph containing all the milestones we have achieved. This seems doable to me, and I'm willing to take the first pass. Like, being specific saves time, and it shows initiative. So definitely do those kind of things when you get your internship. So this question goes to Jared. How did you ask questions or receive directions when you were stuck doing something?
So like honestly, like I feel like this question is probably like the most important thing on the panel. In terms of like asking questions, depending on what company you are, you should be able to do this. But I literally set up meetings with over 50 Walmart employees during the time that I was there at Walmart. My goal was to meet like anywhere from like 5 to 10 people each week and just network. Like just you sit down in a room, you have questions, whether they're in your department or not, because you want to get a variety, and you just ask them questions about how they started their career, and you'll see that so many people that are in, whatever department they're in, there's so much diverse background of how they got there. And it's usually something like they weren't in that field and then they switched to that field, or they were with, maybe the competitor company and now they're with this company. So it's like you get so much insight on that alone, and just be a sponge. Like you should always be asking questions. If you don't know how to do something, you ask your manager or someone next to you that has the expertise in that. Um, I would say in terms of like receiving directions, like you should always be listening. Try not to always talk over listening, because being an active listener, I feel like is more important when you're in an internship and you don't necessarily know what you're doing. I had a couple different people like advising me, and one of my people that was advising me, um he was my project advisor. And so when he was like, okay, like when we're doing this part of the project, you have to do this, I would really just like sit there, take notes, and lock in. Or sometimes he would tell me, don't take notes, because when you start taking notes while someone's talking, you're not processing everything. He would tell me, put your pen down, just look at what I'm doing, like whether it was like creating like a new pivot table, like working with a query, whatever it was, and just kind of hone in on that, and then afterward be able to replicate it. There was one time I remember like he made me recreate and redo the same formula 5 different times, erasing it, and so I got better and better and better. So it's like that kind of thing. I would say.
Yeah, thank you for that. How about you, Anya?
Just like never be afraid to ask a question, because believe it or not, like your manager, whoever you're working with, they want you to ask, and it shows that you're interested and really engaged. So never be afraid to ask. I found that at my internship, like we used Microsoft Teams, and like at first I was like a little bit hesitant to use it because I wasn't really familiar with it. I didn't have any experience with it. But then I like came to realize that like if you just have a quick question for somebody, accessing them like via chat is really easy, and like that's how people communicate throughout the day, versus like email. Obviously there's a million emails throughout the day as well, but just like something quick, like just don't be afraid to ask, or even set up like 10 minutes to talk to somebody, because if you do that, it really shows that you're interested. And also Jared just touched on this, but this was something I did throughout my internship as well, and it was really encouraged for us to do so, but was to set up meetings with people who you didn't necessarily work with. They could have been in different departments or whatever, but just so you were learn more about the people themselves and also the company and their background and things like that. People love obviously to talk about themselves, so meeting with them and just learning more is key. So just never be afraid to ask a question and always be open to listening, for sure.
I was gonna say too, on this Microsoft Teams and Zoom, they have a chat function at most companies, especially big companies, where you can literally like text anyone that has like whatever, like so it'd be like name and then Walmart email, and you could text them while you're at work, and you would see if they're on their computer or not. It'd be green if they're active and then red if they're not. And then you could Zoom them if you have a quick question. You could chat, text them, Zoom. So like even with my other internship like friends, if we want to go out to like lunch later, I'd be like, oh, 12 p.m. You type in the little chat like, oh, we're going out to lunch. Like even like little stuff like that like adds up.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with all those things. And at Deloitte, what we did, we like to order coffee together. And the funny thing is, like, I always get free coffee from the full-time employees, so it's nice. So yeah, when you're when you're stuck doing a deliverable, like at least try to spend like 15 to 30 minutes to figure out how you can do it yourself, and try to use different tactics to finish the work. However, when it's already above 30 minutes or something like that, ask someone on your team to help you and let them know the different tactics you use to do the work. Also, explain why you are having a hard time, and just don't tell them that I cannot do it, I'm confused. You have to be specific when it comes to asking questions and why you failed to accomplish the work. And by being straightforward, you save them some time, and then it's easier for them to help you too. So yeah, for our last question on the list, have you connected on LinkedIn with your former manager at your internship or been in touch with them? Anyone can answer this question.
I'm just gonna jump in and say yes. I've definitely connected with my former manager at in my past internships, definitely. And also when it's holiday season, I'll definitely send them a quick message, happy holidays. But yes, love LinkedIn, and most definitely.
connect with them via LinkedIn. I was actually in New York City recently, like a week ago, and I was in the neighborhood that the office was in, that I worked in over the summer. And I just like sent a note to the people that I worked with, like the people that I worked really close with. I was like, "Hi, just thinking of you guys. Like, hope all is well." Like something like that goes a long way. Just so they kind of remember your name, and just shows that you like didn't just move on and forget about the experience that you had, because things can come back around. Like I wasn't offered a full-time job after my summer internship just because that wasn't the way that recruiting worked there. But I was encouraged to circle back like upon graduation. So doing so beforehand is definitely not going to hurt. But being connected through LinkedIn and just sending the simplest note can really make a meaningful impact for sure.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I've connected with not only like my manager but other coworkers, not only through like LinkedIn, but I have like touch basis with my mentor like every like bi-weekly, like every 2 weeks, and just call and chat for like an hour, just to like let them know like how I'm doing and like stuff that's either bothering me or like something like that. And then like other people that I was close with, and actually the other day, for example, and this is why networking is so important. When I was doing my Burlington interview, I actually connected with someone that I worked with at Walmart, and he actually gave me panelist questions that he was asking to his grad students that were applying to work at Walmart in merchandising as well. So he gave me those questions. I told him, answers that I already had for things that I thought they might ask, and like all the research that I'd done. So it's like I had like a Zoom with him, so he scheduled it, sent me the Zoom link via Walmart, and then I joined that. So it's like you never know when those network connections are gonna, help you. So definitely keep them. And it's like you don't have to be like on top of it 25/8, but you definitely want to, every month or so, like, or every few weeks, just reach out and say like, make sure they know you're there.
So I haven't started my internship yet, but during like the process when I was getting interviewed, I made sure to connect with everyone who interviewed me afterwards, like on LinkedIn. And I also asked for their emails too. And I just sent like a simple like thank you for your time email. And I think this helped a lot because when I got like an offer at Ernest and Young, the partner himself had emailed me and was just like, "Oh, if you have a minute, like, can I call you?" And he like called me and he was like, "Oh, like you'll probably receive your offer in like a week, but I just wanted to personally let you know like that you received an offer. Like I enjoyed talking to you." So like I think like just that helped a lot too, because if I had never asked for his email, he wouldn't even have my email. And like just like building the connection with them and also like connecting with people on LinkedIn, like even though I didn't accept some of the companies that I applied for, like they still followed me back on LinkedIn. And I think it's just like a great like tool to have and just like keeping up to date with what like everyone's like doing and stuff.
Yeah, obviously, connecting with them on LinkedIn is a great way to keep in touch with your former colleagues and current colleagues too. So we still have a little bit of time, so anyone from the audience can ask questions to our panelists. Just raise your hand or use the reactions below. Anyone? I guess I can ask a question then. Debora, why did you pick Deloitte over EY?
I personally was debating between EY and Deloitte. I like genuinely enjoyed talking to the two people at EY. They like made me feel like so comfortable, but Deloitte was always my first choice just because one of my friends like works there. So she like kind of like tells me about like the company culture and how like they appreciate their employees. And like I had just more of a better understanding of Deloitte than I did of Ernest and Young. But honestly, like all the companies seemed great. I just like really enjoyed Deloitte's presence, I guess. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like when I went to Deloitte, I was like, okay, like this is for me. So I think that's why I chose it.
Yeah, I can relate to that too. Yeah. Siki has a question. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to say a quick thank you to all of you and your time explaining your progress and process in getting an internship. I was very lucky to connect with Debora before the meeting on LinkedIn. So I sent a request to each of you on LinkedIn and hopefully to connect with you. And I had a question for Jasper and Deborah because Deloitte is one of my dream company and I really would like to work for, but my background is not in business or accounting. I attend a couple webinar, their event that explained how the internship program and the process timeline, how that work, and just wanted to know more detailed in your experiences of applying and interviewing and getting the offer from Deloitte. Thank you.
I guess I can answer the question. So basically what I did, I attended those events and then, you have to figure out who's like the panelists and this and that. And then, for example, if the HR is one of the panelists, you send them an email, thanking them and everything. And then you list on the email, like the positions you applied for, and you ask them if they can connect you with someone from those positions or like a recruiter from those positions. And then, add your resume and stuff like that. And then that's how I landed my informal interview. I got a phone call with them actually. So that's what I did. I just didn't apply. I just didn't go to their website because like if you went to their website and applied, you're just basically a number to them. But like if you reached out to them, through email, you became a real person, if that makes sense. So that's how I got my internship and my full-time offer.
I had a different experience. So I applied through their website, but when I went to like Deloitte had like a celebration day for all like the interns who like got accepted. The one girl who was there, she had attended I think it was, I forgot what event it was, but it was like in person at at Deloitte's Morristown location. So I think it was just kind of like an information thing. I don't know what it was, but the HR and like the recruiters or whatever, they all remembered her because like when you're there, like going to these events, they're all gonna remember your face. So like this girl had just seen them once and then emailed them, and when she got there, they were like, "Oh, like hi, how are you? Like, did you decide if you're gonna apply for like if you're gonna accept Deloitte's offer? Like, how's school going? Like this and that." So I think like that made me realize like I should have went to like their events more, so they would have remembered my face. So I think like doing that, like kind of being more involved in these opportunities. And I know like on Handshake and stuff, they post like when they're doing like an information, I forgot what they're called, but they just post when they have like sessions where you could come into their like different locations.
We have a question in the chat. Say, I was wondering, how do you know when there's internships available or open? You just go to the company website or LinkedIn or Handshake and then apply. That's what I did most of the time. So is there
Should have deadlines on them too. Like
yeah.
a lot of the internship, it would be like 3 or 4 month period that it's open before, and you should always try to apply within that 2 month. Like you don't want to wait till the end because at that point they've already started, bringing in people.
Yeah.
Like always be open to searching and like looking around for things. And like I worked in recruitment at my internship, so it's like I don't know how it works for a lot of places, but like in accounting, they're recruiting kind of like a year in advance. So like at my internship, a lot of the people that were my age, that worked in the specific service lines at the firm, they were offered jobs because they were recruiting for the positions for people coming out of college in this coming May. So definitely recruiting is like a season earlier than actually like occurs. Like I know right now I've been applying to internships for spring of 2023. So this coming spring. So definitely just be on it early. I also haven't spoke about this yet, but I had an internship in digital marketing because that's my minor. So I did the required internship last fall. And I actually kind of, Pat will tell you, I like made it up myself. I had an interest in real estate, so I just connected with somebody that I knew like locally and kind of just like asked, how can I make this into like an experience that I could get credit for it at school, but also learn. So just be open to everything and just be consistent in your search because there's always opportunities open.
Yep, I agree. Based on my experience, my internship started in June 2022, but like I started networking in June 2021 for Deloitte and then applied in July, and then I got the offer, and we did the whole the interview process in August. So they really start like a year early, especially for like in big companies. So the earlier the better. And also I just want to share something in the chat. So this is Modern Guild. It's basically like a boot camp. I found one of my internship here through here actually. So you can choose like which path you want to take. Like it can be consulting, finance, or technology. So like I picked consulting and finance. They taught me how to like read financial statements and how to like pass case study interviews. Also, they connected us to like companies such as Deloitte, PwC, McKinsey, Bain, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs. So basically attending those virtual events helped me to like connect with hiring managers and get an informal interview with them.
And I would also like to throw out a piece of advice. So I kind of, on my path, I kind of built my entrepreneurship. So I kind of started, especially if you want to get involved with the entertainment business, I started trying to build up my experience to get a internship. So that's kind of how I got involved with music video production, concert production, and things like that. So definitely I would advise anybody, if you want to get involved in a specific industry, I would say start your own business possibly so you can build that experience. And recruiters love that, to see that on your resume, that you've kind of, started your own experience by yourself.
Also, I just want to remind everyone that having a strong resume really helps. So, try to talk to like Paige, to Pat, or to Mary, before you apply to these internships and jobs. And also, Debora also linked something like frequently asked questions in the chat. So you guys should definitely save it and look into it.
I would say like
Thank you.
overall, I would say like my takeaways from my internship, like continue to be curious, always look for new opportunities to try to solve problems. Be a business expert in your field, inform at a high level, and you'll be successful. I would say always value opinion and be open to listening. Be a sponge, constantly learning new information. Create a network and use them to your advantage to progress your career and personal growth. Try to analyze during your internship how you view job satisfaction, compensation, and work-life balance, because you'll see really quickly what a 9 to 5 will do to you and what it does to Pat and Mary and all them. And then like lastly, just make it your own experience, because at the end of the day, everyone experiences their internship differently, for better or for worse. And even if you don't necessarily like what you're doing, you'll definitely take away something from it.
Yep, I agree. Thank you for that.